Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be doing another Annie's Crochet Afghan Block of the Month Club. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in, and for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are doing block number 11 off this Annie's Crochet Afghan kit. If you do not know Annie's, they do subscriptions. You can change the frequency between 1 to 2 months, every 1 to 2 months. Wait, once a month or twice a month. And when you go on their website, you click on the project that you want to do. This is the project that I thought would be really pretty and nice to do. So they send you, once you click on it, it tells you how many kits that it has. And I got this one in the Mediterranean, the Moroccan one, and I can't remember which one was which, but one has 10 kits, the other one has 11 kits. Each kit sent to me with shipping and tax was about $27+. It's a steep price, but if you were to buy a handmade Afghan, you might be paying the same amount. Now, what's worth it in these kits is that they teach you some standard stitches per block and into patterns, and this will kind of teach you how to do other projects too. I mean, you can also do other projects, but if you did end up getting this kit, it has that repetitive stitch making to where you can hopefully kind of get it ingrained into your memory or your motor skills to help you learn how to crochet better. So due to the copyright issues, I cannot share any information inside this kit, so I would recommend just going on Annie's and getting it yourself. What my channel does is I do help you read and understand the instructions as well as do the stitches. I'll do them at least 3 times step by step, and then I'll go at my normal pace. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go faster or slow. If you need to not hear my voice, you can always lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Alright, so today we are going to be doing block 11. I do have a playlist for all these blocks in case you need to find the block that you need to do. I have no idea how many more blocks I have to go. All I know is that I said I was going to get this done before the end of the year. So today we're going to be working with Weathered Gray. So I'm going to pull out Weathered Gray. So each kit will come with everything you need to make the kit, make what's in the kit. The first kit will come with the hooks and the stitch markers, and I can't remember if there was anything else in that kit, but then thereafter you'll only receive the yarn and the instructional booklet to make whatever block you're making. The yarn that they provide for this kit is Premier yarn. You can probably, I mean, it seems like this is exclusive, yeah, duh, exclusive to Annie's, so you can't just go find Premier yarn in this color. I believe, I'm not sure, never tried it, but there is plenty of yarn. I haven't had any issues yet with needing more yarn. So how I start this off, I like to get the inside of the yarn, and if you choose to do the outside, you can. You just have to remove the band, and when you pull it, it's just going to spin around if you haven't experienced that yet. And I don't particularly like that. So we're going to find the inside end. Now what companies do is that they will put the outside end in and tuck it inside so that it doesn't accidentally get pulled or anything during shipping or packaging or what have you. So we're just going to pull this out. Let's this one right here. Okay, so that's going to be the easier end to find. If you found it right away, more than not, it is the outside end. I'm just going to tuck that into underneath this band here to keep it out of my way. Then I'm going to go inside the spool and I'm going to try to find the other end. Sometimes you'll get really lucky and it'll be sitting right there calling your name. Other times it's not going to be so obvious and you really just have to look at both ends. If you're not finding it, and I think I found it actually, so I think it's this one right here. So if you make pretend, yeah, I did find it. Make pretend that I didn't find it. Just pull any random piece and pull it out. It's going to come out in a chunk. That might scare you, and I've done it plenty of times in these videos. That's okay, you'll end up using it anyway, but the idea is once you use it up, you have this feeder end now that's tucked away inside the spool. You just need to put a little paper weight on top and you can just keep pulling on their feeder yarn and it's not going to move around on you. I think there's enough weight on its own to do that, almost. Sometimes you'll have knots. I can feel that there has to be something it's catching on because it's not, you know, giving in some spot. Oh, now it is. Okay, so maybe I got it good now. So see, something like that. Anyway, stop doing that. I'm going to put this aside. And for this, we're going to start with the larger hook. So these are the two hooks that they give you in the beginning of the kit, and they also give you stitch markers. I had 2 packets of green and orange. Always keep these stitch markers whenever they give that to you in a kit. These are so valuable. If you need more, I do have an Amazon storefront where I tagged a couple of stores that sell stitch markers. I have not purchased from them myself, but they are high star rated, so it would be you can either check it out and then search elsewhere to somewhere that you feel more comfortable with, or you can try it out and let me know how that process all went. But anyway, so I'm just gonna get to the other end here. Now we're gonna do some of these stitches now, but what we're gonna do is cast on with a slip knot. So to do this without needing a hook, let's just take our middle pinky and thumb and hold one end all the way at the end there. Then take your index and middle and hold apart the other end. This one you'll keep tight, this one you'll keep kind of loose. We're going to take our 2 fingers here and we're going to pull up and we're going to turn it down to make a little loop. Then you're going to take your index finger and middle finger and you're going to grab the feeder yarn and pull it through that loop, and it's basically going to create a huge knot right there. So what we got to do now is tighten up the knot. So I'd pull on the feeder yarn that we pulled through to make the knot tighter, and you want to like pull it close to your thumb. That way this is the amount of yarn we waste. Not a lot, right? So now just to tighten this knot up a little bit, you don't have to tighten it too much. You can just tug on this little tail here. And now we have to work with this large loop. Hold on to the knot right here. We're going to pull on the feeder yarn and you're going to pull it till that loop is big enough to fit your crochet hook. Alright, so I am doing this for righty today. Put your hook into that loop. I'm going to underhand my hook here because this is really good to relieve the tension on your grip, thus making looser stitches, not so tight stitches. But I'm going to just hold onto the knot here to create stability for my project, and we are going to do the first parts of this instruction. So that next section after weathered gray says we're going to be doing a CH with a number. CH stands for a chain stitch, and of course the number tells you how many you have to do. So let me just at least show you how to do 3. So we're going to yarn over. That's going to take your feeder yarn and we're going to put it over the hook. So yarn over, Y-O, if you ever want to know. We're going to put the yarn over the hook like that. So now we're going to take the yarn over, which is this, and we're going to slip it through this knot here. So hook the yarn over, and we're going to pull the hook through that loop to create our first chain stitch. So the chain stitch is the most simplest stitch you can do. It's actually not the most simplest, but it's one of the most simplest stitches you can do in crocheting, and that's it. Now a chain stitch is made up of 3 loops. You have one on this side, one on the other side. I'm going to turn this on its side, and you have one right here in the back. I call that the back hump. Alright, so let's do another one. We're going to yarn over, which is taking the yarn, feeder yarn, and putting it over the hook. So now we're going to hook the yarn and pull it through this loop. So hook it and pull it through the loop, creating our second chain stitch. So now we have 2. Each chain stitch is made up of 3 loops. We have one on this side, one on the other side. We flip it on its side, and then you have one right here, which is the back hump. Alright, let's do one more with you guys. So we're going to yarn over, taking the feeder yarn over the hook. Then we're going to hook the yarn over and pull it through the loop, creating a 3rd chain stitch. Alright, and again, these chain stitches are made up of 3 loops. We have one on this side, one on that side. You turn it on its side. This one back here is the back hump. Now let's take a second to look at the top view of this. You can see our 3 chain stitches, and you can also see that it looks a little bit like a braid if you've ever given yourself a braid or somebody else. So just keeping all this information in mind because it's going to be helpful in our next part of the instructions. But now that I've taught you how to do the chain stitch at least 3 times step by step, you can go ahead and rewind this video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the chain stitch on your own. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the chain stitches required for this set of instructions. Alright, now as a beginner, it's good to make sure you have the right stitch count. So off camera here, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I have the right number of stitches. And I mean, not even a beginner, it's also good to do it generally, so you can catch your mistakes before they happen, or early on rather than later on. Alright, so what I'm focusing now when instructions are long, I'm focusing on everything in between commas. So let's look at the next section of commas. So looks like we're going to learn a new stitch. And we're going to be doing a single crochet stitch, an SC. Now this is pretty universal, so I can give you numbers and everything, so it's fine. When you have a chain stitch like this, and the next move is to make single crochet stitches, we have to know the height of a single crochet stitch, because now we're going to create something called a row. So you have your chain stitches here. We're going to create a row on top of it, and it's going to be a row of single crochet stitches. Now, universally known to any project that you do, a single crochet stitch has the height of one chain. So what it says in the instructions, and again it's universal, so you'll see this in every instruction, that you're going to put in your hook the second chain from the hook. So you're not going to count the one that's already on there, the loop here. We're going to count the chains actually that are off it. So if we're going to put our hook in the second chain, here's one, here's two. So we're going to be putting it in this stitch. Now I mentioned that they have 3 parts to this chain stitch. We have 3 loops, one right here, which is the back loop, this one down here, that's the front loop, and then if we turn it on its side, we have this one here, which is the back hump. So we're going to put our hook into the back hump. I want to preserve the braiding as much as possible. That's just something I like to do. Sometimes instructions will tell you to do that too. So second chain from hook, 1, 2. We're going to do a single crochet stitch. I'm going to stick my hook into the back hump by turning this on its side and putting the hook into that back hump. You want to make sure you're not splitting your yarn. But now let's continue the single crochet stitch. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, and then you're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. So that is our first single crochet stitch. So we have our front loop here, back loop here, and then we have that chain stitch that we skipped making the height. That's why we do it, because then otherwise it's gonna look like pinched. Here it looks like a clean kind of rectangle looking thing. All right, so now let's look at the next sections. So after we've done that, we are approaching some brackets. So there's a lot in here. Okay, when you see a bracket, it's pretty much going to tell you that we're going to be repeating everything inside the bracket. And it tells you after how many times you repeat it. Sometimes it's a number. This time it's saying across, so you're pretty much going to repeat it till you get to the end of the line. So again, not to get overwhelmed, let's focus on what's in between the commas. So the first part that we're going to do is SK, and SK stands for skip stitches. So it's telling us to skip some of these stitches, these chains that we've made. So whatever stitch we do next, we have to make sure that we skip those number of stitches when we put in our hook. Now the next section, we have letters in bold, and it has parentheses next to it, and it's called special stitches. So you pretty much need to go inside this booklet to special stitches, and under that category you're going to see the number of stitches or the type of stitches they want you to do. So I'm going to teach you what's called a shell. I won't really say how they want their shell made, but the concept of the shell. So when we're doing a shell, it's going to be a cluster of a bunch of stitches. And in this case, we are going to learn another stitch called a double crochet stitch, which is DC. Okay. All right, so let me teach you how to do double crochet stitches. And again, a shell is going to be a cluster of them. All right. So first we have to remember we are skipping some chains. So go ahead and do that. Okay. Then what we're going to do is a double crochet stitch. So what you have to do is yarn over. Then we're going to stick our hook into the back hump. So go into the back hump after skipping those stitches. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. Let's continue this double crochet stitch. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops still on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through 2 loops. 1, 2. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. 1, 2. Okay. So now we've completed our first double crochet stitch. Again, we have our front loop here and our back loop there. All right, let's do this again. So yarn over. Now in doing the shell, you have to stick your hook into that same stitch. So we're going to use the same stitch we just used. Now to continue the double crochet stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 2 double crochet stitches. We have our front loops and our back loops. Let's do this one more time with you guys. So yarn over, stick your hook into that same stitch because we are still doing this shell. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do a double crochet stitch at least 3 times step by step, you can rewind this video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing double crochet stitches on your own. But I'm going to finish this shell and then we're going to move on to the next section of this instructions. Alright, so in the next section we have SK again. So we are going to be skipping the chain stitches that it tells you to skip. And then in the next section after that, we have to do another single crochet stitch. So don't forget to skip your stitches. Then we're going to do a single crochet stitch in the next stitch. So let me show you how to do a single crochet stitch. You're going to stick your hook into that back hump. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop, so we have 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So here's the second single crochet stitch we made. Here's the front loop, here's the back loop. So you should have something that looks like this. Alright, now that was the end of the bracket. So now that we kind of broke this down, it was a lot of information, but you pretty much slammed it at this point right now, and all we have to do now is repeat it. So since I've only shown you single crochet stitches twice, I'm going to show you how to do it one more time, and then I'm just going to move on to the remaining repeats, and I'll come back in when I get to the end of the line. But at the end of the instructions, there's a set of parentheses, and if a company's good enough, they will do this every time. That's pretty much going to tell you how many stitches you should have of each at the end of the row. So that's great. I love seeing those things, because then I can just go ahead, instead of counting every stitch, sometimes you can just group them and count however many they say you should have. So anyway, going back to the bracket, I'm going to skip some stitches, and then we're going to do our shell. So do that. Okay, and then we're going to skip stitches again, and then we're going to do a single crochet stitch. So skip your stitches, put your hook into the back hump, and then we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So that is our 3rd single crochet stitch. You have your front loop here, back loop here. This is what it's looking like right now. I have to feed the cat. But now that I've shown you how to do 3 single crochet stitches step by step, you can rewind the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing single crochet stitches on your own. But like I said, I am going to go in and just finish the rest of the brackets, and then we'll come back in and I'll show you what you need to do next. So I reached the end of the row here, and we're going to be doing row 2 now. So let me just gather up some yarn. Now make sure, like I said, you go ahead and you count the number of stitches that were needed for row 1 to make sure you have the right stitch counts. It's better to catch a mistake earlier on so you don't have to unravel a lot. Alright. So now for row 2, we're going to be doing some chains. Now this is kind of universal too, so that I can tell you numbers and such. So like in the last row, we said that for a single crochet stitch, the height of it is 1 chain. So it looks as though now we're going to be doing the height of a double crochet stitch. So let's turn. At the very end of row 1, you have to turn, and that's basically taking your row here that you just did, and we're just going to flip it over. So now all your stitches are on your left again, and we'll be able to work. So like I said, the height of a double crochet stitch is 3 chains, and that's universal in any instruction that you do. So they're telling you in the C pattern notes that a chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet stitch as well. So not only are we building the height of our next row, we're also going to count this as our first double crochet stitch. All right. So what we're gonna do next, in the next section between the commas, is we're going to be doing a double crochet stitch, but they want you to put it in the same stitch as this 3 chains. So let's do our double crochet stitch. We're going to stick it into this first stitch here, which has the chain stitches as well. And we're going to do our double crochet stitch. Okay. So now we have that. One thing that I want to tell you guys, so since this 3 chain is going to act as a double crochet stitch, let's go ahead and take one of our stitch markers. Again, these stitch markers help you out in so many ways, and one of the things that I find difficult when we end up crocheting the next row, we're gonna have to put our hook into the last double crochet stitch. Now when it's made up of 3 chains, I always get like confused where I need to put my hook, because chains are so different from regular stitches. So what we're gonna do, take your stitch marker, I'm gonna place it on the top 3rd chain. So where you find that top 3rd chain, and we're gonna put it into the braided loops. So here's one, and I'm gonna put it through the other one. The back hump is back there, of course, and I'm gonna close this up so that way when I get to the other side, I'll easily know where to put my hook. It's gonna be through this stitch with the stitch marker. All right. So back to the instructions. We are going to be doing some chain stitches, and then we also are going to be working in single crochet stitches. Now they want you to put this in the middle of the shell, so go ahead and do that. Okay. And then we're going to do chains again. And now we came upon a bracket. So like we did in the previous row, the bracket is pretty much what we're going to repeat. And in order to not get overwhelmed, let's focus on one section at a time. So we're going to introduce a V-stitch. So in the parentheses it says see special stitches. We're going to hop on over to the special stitches section, and we do have a V stitch in there, VST, and it's going to tell you what those stitches are, and it's going to create a V shape. So that's the look that we're going for. And this V stitch is has a combination of double crochet stitches and chain stitches. So we're going to be doing that in the next stitch. So in the next single crochet stitch, actually. So we know these in the shell are double crochet stitches, and then we had the single crochet in between. So we're going to be working this V stitch in this single crochet stitch. So do that now. Okay, and like I said, it's supposed to form a V. So if you don't see this V, something is amiss. Okay, now on to the next section. We're going to be doing some chains again. And then single crochet stitches again. Back to some chains, and then that's the bracket. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to do this, I'm going to go in and finish the rest of these brackets, and then when we come back in, there's a last bit of instructions that we have to do before we turn. So I'm going to do that now. All right, so we're in the last bits, and we're pretty much doing double crochet stitches. So let's go do that. Okay. And then before we do the turn, take a look at the parentheses. It's going to tell you how many of each stitch we need for this row. So you definitely just want to go back and make sure you have the right counts. And then we're going to turn our project. And then for row 3, we're going to do some chains. And then again, I think this is going to be needing a stitch marker on the top stitch so that we know where to put our hook when we get to the other side. But then we're going to work our double crochet stitches, and we're putting it into the same stitch as the 3 chains. So that's the first stitch here. Okay. Then we're going to be doing our single crochet stitch. And then we have our skipping. We have to skip. And then the next section is another set of brackets. So in this brackets, it looks like we're back to shells, single crochet stitches, and skipping stitches. So let's do the brackets now. All right. Okay, so now that I finished the bracket at least once, we have to repeat this, and then there's the last bits of instruction before we turn. So I'm gonna do that as well. Okay, so for the last part, we're going to be skipping some stitches and doing double crochet stitches before we turn. So let's go ahead and do that. And because like I said, we did put our stitch marker at the top of that third chain, now I can easily tell where I'm going to put in my hook. So we're going to put this right in here into this stitch. I'm going to keep the stitch marker in there because we're going to need it in the end. It's going to help us do some counts later. So, but go ahead and do the last bits. So you see how helpful it is to just mark that top third chain. So this is the end of row 3. We're going to turn. You can check your counts, but we're going to be doing row 4. Just getting some yarn here. All right. So for row 4, we're going to be building the height because we're going to be working with single crochet stitches. So like I said before, it's pretty universal. So chain 1. And then we're going to do our single crochet stitch. Then we got to do some chains. And then we're going to be doing a V-stitch. So go ahead and do that. Then we have to do some chains, and then we reach a bracket. So again, this bracket we're going to repeat as many times as the instructions say. Inside these brackets we're going to be doing single crochet stitches, chains, V-stitches, and chains. So let's do that now. And if you haven't noticed, we're pretty much making the pattern now. So there are some repetitive stitches, and you can see in our project that we're pretty much doing some sort of staggered pattern on here. Okay, so now for the last parts. Oh wait, I'm not in the last part yet. False alarm. Okay, now I'm in the last parts. We're going to be skipping some stitches, and then we're going to be doing single crochet stitches before the turn. And again, I've put a stitch marker on the top of that third chain, so it's easier for me to find where to put my hook next. So we're going to work that last stitch, and then we're going to turn. So this is what it's looking like right now. Now we're going to do row 5. So row 5, we have to build the height of a single crochet stitch. So go ahead and do that. Then we're going to skip some stitches and then do a shell. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, the next section we're going to do is a bracket, and in this bracket we have single crochet stitches, then we have to skip some stitches, and then we're going to work another shell. So let's do that now. And then of course we're going to repeat the bracket. And we do have a last bit of instructions when we get to the end, so we'll talk about that. So the last bit was single crochet stitch. I forgot, but anyway, we're gonna give this a turn, and we're gonna do row 6. So I'm just gonna get some yarn here. Alright, so for row 6 we're building the height of a double crochet stitch, and then we're going to take our stitch marker and mark the top of that chain 3, so we'll know where to put our hook. Then we're going to be doing the double crochet stitch in the same stitch as the chain stitch, so that's this first one right here. Okay, and then we're going to do some chain stitches, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitches, chain stitches again, and then we reached a bracket. So in this bracket we're going to be working the V-stitch, some chain stitches, single crochet stitches, and back to chain stitches. Once we get to the end, we do have a last bit of instructions, and then we can turn. Okay, so for the last bits of row 6, we're going to be doing some double crochet stitches, so go ahead and do that now. All right, so let's talk about the future rows we're doing. Every block we're going to get this. It's pretty much going to repeat the pattern. So what I'm going to do is take a stitch marker and we're going to put this under the last stitch we made. So here's the last one. We're going to put it underneath the front and back loops. Make sure you didn't split your yarn, and see, I split it, so I'm just going to take this back out. Make sure that I only grab, you know, the front and back loops in its entirety. See, pulling this out, it's nice and clear, so I can close this. This stitch marker is gonna count as row 7. Now, if you see in the instructions, we have to do rows 7 through 18. Now, the problem with that is when you get distracted with everything, even if you're just trying to focus, you might overthink it and get lost in what row you're on. These are going to keep track of what row you're on. So that's probably why they give you 2 different colors, because I've been using them just to mark my top chains. You can use the other color to do this part. So we have our row 7. We're going to take my stitch markers here, and these are like all the stitch not even all of them, but a handful of the stitch markers I've been collecting. In my original kit, they gave me a packet of orange and a packet of green. And again, like I said, it's probably to identify which one is which. You can say, oh, the green ones are going to go at the top of the 3rd chain. The orange ones are going to indicate which row I'm on. So that could help as well. But this counts as 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this I can use for my top 3 chains. I won't get them mixed up with these ones. If you're using the color ones that they gave you, that's probably the better way to go. I like to always double count these as well. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Now, for rows 7 through 18, we're going to be repeating rows 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on until you use up all of these stitch markers. Okay. Again, not to confuse them with the top 3 chain stitch markers. You still want to do that too, because it'll make your life easier. Again, you can try using 2 different colors that they've given you. Okay, so we're pretty much going to repeat these rows, and at the last row we're not going to turn it. So when I come back in, we're going to have completed row 18, and I'm not going to have turned it yet. We'll come back in for round 19. I'm going to do the rest in silence. Alright, so I finished all the rows. We're gonna do round 19, and it's pretty much the border of this whole thing. So I haven't turned it yet. I did mark the last stitch that I made, so I know where I'm going to end up. I am gonna rotate this about 90 degrees. So what we have to do is evenly space out some single crochet stitches. So that's why I say these stitch markers may help you out. I might add in a couple more, but I'm just gonna pause this real quick, and I'm just going to divide up the single crochet stitches with these rows, add a couple more stitch markers, and I'll come back in and we'll start doing round 19. For this next part, we're going to take the larger crochet hook and we're going to switch it out to the smaller crochet hook. So what you want to do is just carefully remove the larger hook from the loop of your project and then slip this one in. I'm adding this little bit into the filming because I forgot to mention that. So in this next part, you are going to see me still use the larger hook, but I'm just going to switch out after that because I completely forgot. Alright, so I've added all the stitch markers where I'm going to be doing my stitches. So what we have to do first is chain 1 for the height of the single crochet stitch, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitches. So work that all the way around, and then I'll come back in when we hit a corner. All right. Once I've completed that side, I'm gonna, oh, we have to do the corner. So I've marked where we did the first chain ever, just now. Not just now, but when I did all these other stitch markers. And we're gonna use that to put our hook in to do our corner. So do the number of single crochet stitches that it's asking you to make. I am going to then do the same division of single crochet stitches for all the 3 sides. I am going to do them in silence, but for now I am just going to remove all of these because I'm going to eventually need these for the other end, and I want to make sure that I have enough stitch markers to use, because the other packet of stitch markers that I have is not at my desk right now. But when we come back in, I'm going to be all 4 sides are going to be complete, and I'm going to show you how to join the beginning to the end, and then we're going to fasten off. This is a lot of them. I'm going to leave that last one for the last stitch we made on row 18. Alright, so I finished the edging on all of the sides. And so now I did the last corner. I'm going to remove the stitch marker because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to show you how to join. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into the first single crochet stitch that we did. Now remember, we did do a chain space, so this one right here is the chain space. This one is the first single crochet stitch, so stick your hook into there. To join this, we're pretty much going to do a slip stitch, and how you do that is we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all the loops off your hook like that. That's a slip stitch or a join. Then we're going to cut about 1 inch or so off the feeder yarn because we are done. You're going to take your feeder yarn and we're going to wrap it around or yarn over, and we're going to pull that through the loop all the way out and tighten this up, and that is that. So here is our, we're going to end up hiding this when we put all the boxes together, the blocks together, so we don't have to worry about that. But this is the end result, you guys. Comment below, let me know how it went. Click that like button if you're liking what you're seeing so far. Click that like button if you're looking forward to making your own Annie's Afghan. But when we come back, we're going to be doing a block 12. So I gotta actually check the playlist. I think at the end of these videos, I don't know, I've been adding the playlists, but I'll start doing that. That way, if you're looking for a block, you can just click on the playlist and search for the block that you need. If you did not see it in the playlist, just comment below if you're looking for a block. Eventually I'll get to all of them, but well, here's the thing, never mind, don't comment below, because I have all the kits. They kept coming in last year and I just didn't have the time to work on any of them. So I actually have all of them, but they're still in the packages, and I'm not going to know what blocks I'm working on until I open the package. So I guess click that notification bell so that you don't miss a video, and eventually I'll get to all of the blocks. At any rate, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.